In the previous video, I showed you how data is captured in apps A and apps B up to here. Now, this time I want to show you how, once you've captured that information, how it translates into payslips. So let's go to January 2022. Where are you? January 2022. There we go. I want to delete this month so that you can see. So you'll originally be faced with a blank screen like this. Now, in Payslip Maker, you used to say copy previous month. That doesn't exist anymore. Your data has been captured in A and B. So you just come and click process payslips. So you get your message, you say yes. It takes some seconds. So now the system is picking the information from the different apps and building the payslips for the employees. Once it's finished, you'll get a message there. It usually takes a little shorter on my computer. Now, I've added some little checks. There are people with negative cash. I've done that deliberately, and I'll show you how that works. So we have now generated payslips for our 20 employees. So this is really, if you do a filter here, you can see the app information. All the things that have now been picked from the apps have appeared for Alan Todd right here. If you want to see where this came from, you can click on source, and it opens the app where this information is sitting, and that applies for all these items. So even this one here. Okay, so you're able to click where did that information come from. Now this is showing only apps. This is your filter app here. Now in the payslip, if I click full, you can see the payslip has several items, and I want to take you through the filters here. So you can either have the apps, which is what we had initially. You can show the auto. So these are the things now that are auto calculated. You see they have a little asterisk at the top there, like that. So like an SSF, all the government deductions, tax, all these things are auto calculated. So you can view your auto calculated. You can view both the apps and auto. You can view with the sums, like in this case, you have no totals. So if you want to see the sums, you come here. So you have pay, you have sum, you have sub. Pay is the totals of the main categories of the payslip, or the main sections of the payslip. Then you have pay and sum. Sums are you have two types of summations within a payslip section. You have either subtotals or sums. They'll become clearer as we go. So when you click on an option, it just opens the payslip a little more. In this case, I've selected full, which is what you get when you click full, and it shows the full payslip of this guy, starting with his gross pay at the top here, totaling the pay, all the way down to his net cash sitting over here. It's negative deliberately. I've put a recovery that's more than that, just so that you would see that it gives you a warning. And then you have these information entries post the net cash. So that's how the payslips look. You can look at different employees' payslips individually if you want to. Let's come back to app just to make it a little bit neater. Let's put off that. So that's your payslips. Now we are still in payslips and reports. So you can view payslips or you can view reports. Now this I've changed from the way it used to be in my previous softwares. Instead of providing reports as a drop down, I've provided it as a complete list. I think this just makes it a little bit clearer, because you can now see all the reports that you have available to you. And then I've put them into categories, columns, and I have sections within the columns. This just makes it easier, like when I'm doing support, I can tell you, look at column C, which is for bank audit and NITA, section 5, and you're able to see that report. So that, just makes it a little easier for us to communicate. when I'm providing support. Now you can see that there are some extra reports here that didn't exist before. Now we have payslips, which existed before. You have summaries, you have the emailer, which was already there. This payslips cross tab was there, but a bit hidden. Now it's a main part of the system. And then you have item lists. I'll show you details of that. Now this column B is where now you have all the government and statutory returns. It's really the same reports. So you have the PAYE, NHIF, and SSF help. And then again, same thing, PAYE, NHIF, and SSF help. And the same again, just in different formats. So let's look at PAYE. So for the return to upload to KRA, you need this, right? Which is the P10, which you then upload into the KRA sheet. But for your file, if you want a list of your PAYE, you can print this or send it to PDF, right? So it shows you a list of what the PAYE was. If you want to analyze, you can open it in Excel. That's what the three categories of reports are in this case. Now, after that, you have column C, where you have cash, especially if you want to send the list to the bank. So let's put it here. So you have the different columns most banks are interested in. I can always add, and you can rearrange these columns. You notice I haven't put all the banks like I had before. You can rearrange these columns. Let's take, for instance, branch, if you want branch to come after account number. And when you close the report, it will save it in that column. The one that I use, I think this is the KCB format. I leave it like that. And it would ask you, do you want to change it? All right. I have a bank report for foreign currency as well. Then you have a PDF version of the same. For those who still pay cash, not many, you can still calculate. You can calculate currency, thousands, 500s, 200s. So it shows for each person, and then it shows totals at the bottom here. Ignore that negative. Remember, I put it in the system just to show you that the system will give you a warning if somebody has a negative pay. And then you have signature sheets. Now, this is a very interesting report. It won't show you anything relevant right now, but it compares the previous month and the current month and shows the changes. So for people with big payrolls, this is a very useful report just to audit that you've captured properly all the changes between last month and this month. Then you have your regular audit reports. You have a rolling 12 month, and you have a Jan to December. Then for NITA, you have this report which you can export to Excel and import into the sheet. Now we're using the monthly one. I think the yearly one has been suspended. So that's column C. Column D, you have your year-end reports. I'll show you that in detail. You can email the year-end reports. You have your P10. What's useful every month is your journal. I've broken the pay into the different elements of pay now, and then you're able to print this off and post it into your accounting system. And then the organization contributions. This is now post the net cash, because you want to capture this information for the organization as well. You're able to see it. And then these are Excel versions of the same. And then these are for individual employees. Some people wanted this, so I've just included it. Now these are some useful reports, what I call checks. If you want to see anyone who has negative cash that month, you'll be able to open that. Anyone who has exceeded 2/3, it shows you what percentage of the person's pay. I should make this rounded. What percentage of the person's pay, net pay I mean, is voluntary deductions. If it exceeds 66%, it pops up, so you're able to adjust it. NHIF and NSSF is if you have people who are contributing to NHIF and NSSF, or you've not yet started to contribute, they have a number and they have been in the payroll for more than 2 months, I think, then it will show you that information. For pension, you need a report to send to the pension scheme. You can get that. You can send it in Excel format. If you want pension statements for an individual, you can get. And then these are useful reports for, no, this is just the insurance premiums. If you're you need to send the information to the insurance company with the payment, you can use this as your payment advice. And same thing for SACCO, right? So in this case, you remember we had some savings, some loan, and total. Oh, this needs to come together. I'll improve that so that it comes out properly. It needs to be for this guy who has both contributions and loans. There should be a total there. Okay, and then if you need your car benefit Excel sheet, you can export it to CSV for importing. Same thing with insurance, okay, if you've input your information. So you can see I've expanded the report somewhat, and I've added, for instance, these checks down here. What else is new? NITA, even though it was already there. Now with something like NSSF, you'll always get this message until I figure out how to do this. You need to remove the wrap text when you go into Excel, because it gives you a problem when you try to upload it. So I just have that as a little warning. For NHIF, I needed, because of the way the report is generated, I needed these columns. I needed this column, and you'll get this, the top row exported. So I've just given you a message, delete this row and column, right? After that, it's ready for uploading. But the P10 goes into CSV and it's ready for uploading, and the help goes to CSV and it's ready for uploading. Let's take a look at this crosstab. This crosstab gives you a nice Excel sheet. You can export all this into Excel. That shows you all the pay up to total cash. If you had lump sum, there would be another column. Then you have gross pay, which is cash plus lump sum. Then you have your benefits, all the B's. Those are all your benefits up to there, the total. Then you have your alloweds, and all this can be exported to, all of it can be exported to Excel. And then after the alloweds, you have your taxable pay, then you have your monthly tax, your gross tax, because you could have lump sum tax as well. And then you have your reliefs with R. So you have your NHIF relief, insurance relief, personal relief. In this case, we have affordable housing relief. So you have your total reliefs, your net tax, then you have after tax pay, then you have your two government deductions, NHIF and NSSF, total government deductions, then you have your net pay, then now your voluntary deductions come, all those up to the rounding, up to here. So you have voluntary deductions, then you have your net cash. Then now your information columns appear here. So you're able to export all these into Excel. To export, it's quite simple. You flip this switch here. Anything you want to export, you click that and make sure you've picked where you want it to go. It exports it, and you can open that place, and you have your report in PDF, right? So all of them can be exported, and you can see what the formats are in the square brackets. So that's your reporting tool. So we've looked at Payslips. The next thing I'll show you is probably items, and then we're going to statutory rates, etc.